What's up, YouTubers? Red Crimson Gaming here. First and foremost, I would like to thank each and every one of you all for supporting me on my last video. What video that is? That my last video was titled "Why the Nintendo Switch 2 Will Be My Last Console." You guys supported me on that. 1.5 thousand views in 2 days. I do not know what was so special about that video. That isn't even my best video unless people actually felt my pain. They feel the same. They feel as if gaming is just going in a different direction. I don't know what it is, or maybe the haters probably seen it, that video, and liked it. I don't know. But then again, with so many likes and views, I don't think haters had anything to do with that. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart for supporting me on my last video. Why the Switch 2 might be my last console. That skyrocketed my subs. Thank you all. And let me know in the comment section what, if you think there's anything I need to change in my videos, anything in particular you guys want to hear about, want to hear me talk about. Just let me know in the comment section. You guys want to start seeing me streaming video games. I do have to set up my Elgato, so let me know in the comment section what you guys would love to see. What kind of content do you want me to put out that interests you guys? So today we're going to talk about the game keycard Fiasco. So ever since Nintendo announced the Switch 2 and these game keycards, people have been confused. Nintendo wasn't really clear on what they are, and then they had to come back out and actually give us a proper explanation of what they are and what these key cards stand for. And a lot of people seems like they do not like them whatsoever. Me personally, I do not like them at all. I think I can't even say if it's the worst thing Nintendo has ever done, but I think these game key cards shouldn't even really exist because it gives developers less incentive to use the cartridges, the 64 gig cartridges that Nintendo provides. And as a game collector myself, you see my games on the shelf. I like to collect my games. I like my games entirely on disc cartridge so I can play years down the line. Now I've seen a video, and I'm not going to call him the names. I actually like that YouTuber. He's pretty good, but everybody has their opinions, and this game keycard thing has created a division between physical collectors and digital download guys and girls. And that's pretty much understandable, but he was saying he doesn't think that because Nintendo is pushing towards digital and the game key cards may be a bad idea, that people should stop gaming. He said he just wants to play games. He doesn't really care. And he's not right and he's not wrong. I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time too, I think age has a lot to do with it. Because listen, I mean, that YouTuber, I've been around pretty much on the planet longer than him, so I know what it is to actually cherish something that you really appreciate, that you grew up with, that you're used to, that you can hold and you can pass down to your kids, friends, or family. You get what I'm saying? Now he was saying that the Wii, and I'm not sure if the Wii U shop is still up, but he said the Wii shop is still up and you can go back into the Wii shop and download all your old games. I wasn't really aware of that. I thought Nintendo had shut the service down the last time I checked. They made it clear cut and they announced that they were finally shutting down the Wii shop. So I don't know if you can go back in there and download all your games, because I personally had to, right before they shut the eShop down on the Wii, I had to go in there and re-download all my games before Nintendo shut the service down. Now he says it's still up and running, and that has been going on for 20 years now. Well, okay, who's to say in a few more years they might shut it down? Eventually everything shuts down and you won't be able to go back and download even your Wii games. That is, if the shop is still up. I don't know. I haven't checked. But eventually, if it's still running, even any old console for that matter, is going to finally shut down. I remember there was a big fiasco where people didn't want Sony to shut down the PSN store for the PS3 and the PS Vita, and they actually backtracked and they kept the stores open, the PSN. But I think eventually they did shut it down. If they open it back up again, I would know. I haven't fired up my PS Vita in a long time, my PS3 in a long time, so I do not know. I don't know. Maybe people just blowing smoke. But if the PSN store for the PS Vita and the PS3 is still up and running, guys, please let me know in the comment section. But either way, if any of these stores are open, eventually they're going to shut down. Games get delisted. It doesn't matter if you purchase the games can go away anytime. And that's the whole, that was my whole point. Now back to these game key cards. I'm not really feeling it. And I understand that we are going into the digital age, and when it comes here, I'll accept it. But at my age, I really don't care too much about the games anymore like I used to. I mean, we get older, guys, we get more mature, and your taste change, your body changes, and your mind changes, and you start looking at these toys as something insignificant, and that's pretty much what they are at the end of the day. It's only so long you can hold on to these things, and I'm sad that the industry is going towards digital. And as I said in my last video, I don't have anything against digital, but I just like owning my games. And it's crazy what's going on with the whole game keycard situation. Yes, it sounds cool in theory. It has a little cool animation when you put a cartridge in, and you still got to download the game, and basically the digital game you download acts like a cartridge, and you can still take that cartridge, you can loan it to a friend, you can trade it back in GameStop, or you can sell it to a friend. And those game key cards, those virtual game key cards, isn't tied to your account, so pretty much it acts like a cartridge, but it's not a cartridge. Get what I'm saying? The game is on the cartridge. It's just a key, a license key, let you know that you purchased that game, and you can go ahead and download that game. But I don't know, guys. Not really feeling it. I don't think I will be buying any game key cards. I don't want to lie. If I do buy a game key card for a game that I like, it won't be a handful of games. It might be one or two games, just a few games. But honestly, I'm not really gonna support the whole game key card movement. I'd rather just download my games from the eShop and have it stored on my system, or a SD card that I have in that system. And whatever game that comes fully on the cartridge, I will just get those. So that's just the route I'm going. I'm going to vote with my wallet. And the other YouTubers said you should vote with your wallet. And yes, I'm going to vote with my wallet. But I mean, I'm not going to really support the game key card thing, man. And even if it means missing out on the game, so be it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's not really that important to me. It's quite insignificant here. Yeah, we just play games and all that, but I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna vote with my wallet, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen in the future, like a year from now, 2 years from now, and see if a lot of people are gonna boycott. They're already boycotting those game key cards, but the proof will be, the final testament would be, if people are going to go out and buy these things. So when the Switch 2 finally hits store shelves, give it a year or two, and we're going to see the ratio between how many people are buying these game key cards versus buying the full game on cartridges. And I'm more so, you guys already know, I'm going to go ahead and go for that, for the full cartridge, the full game on the cartridge. I'm not paying those game key cards any mind. And who knows, Nintendo they may look at the sale and say, okay, well, you know what, people are ignoring these game key cards. The cartridges are getting cheaper 2 years in, so maybe we should just start pushing developers to put more games on those 64 gig cartridges, and just do away with the game key cards altogether. And that may have, it's really a toss up, guys, because it can go either way. Because let's just say that we don't support those game key cards. Nobody hardly buys them, and everybody's buying whatever games that are available on cartridges, or just downloading the games straight from the eShop down to their console. Nintendo may not even Nintendo may get rid of the key cards and cartridges altogether, because right now the Switch 2 is actually looking like it's in between an all digital system and a physical media system, but it can go either way. Nintendo could just do a full swing and just go straight digital, no physical games. I feel like the physical slot on the Nintendo Switch 2 is just basically for backwards compatibility with your old Switch library. That's what I feel. I genuinely do feel the Switch 2 is a digital console, and this cartridge slot is just reserved for your old Switch library games, with the exception of Nintendo putting all their first party games on that 64 gigabyte cartridges. And Nintendo, like I said before, guys, and this has been said many times, Nintendo needs to come out with, they're doing a very sloppy job with these new cartridges for the Switch 2. They need to have 2 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte, 16, 13 gigabyte increments, different size cartridges to accommodate whatever game size the devs are going for. It's kind of weird. Nintendo's being backwards. They're being sloppy about it, and they're being lazy about it. And they had 8 years to figure all this out. And that's a thing that kind of bogs my mind. I guess Nintendo just sitting there, with their sitting on their hands. That's what it sounded like to me. They had 8 years to figure this out. You mean telling me within the past 8 years you didn't say, okay, you know what, we're gonna do the same thing we did with the Switch. We have these new Switch 2 cartridges. They hold more gigabytes. They have faster read speeds, and we're gonna have 2 gigs, 6 gigs, 8 gigs, 16, 32 gigs, and 64 gigs. They should have all those different size cartridges ready to go, stockpiled in a warehouse somewhere. But it seems that Nintendo's just doing things at the last minute. And another thing too, I believe Nintendo's pushing for the digital. I feel they kind of back themselves into a corner. Remember, the Switch 2 has a lot more power underneath the hood, and Nintendo has came out and said they're selling the Nintendo Switch 2 at a loss. So what's the best way to recoup the money? By going digital. If you cut the middleman out, we already know. You buy a game from the eShop, that's straight profit. You're cutting out the middleman, you're cutting out those warehouse workers, you're cutting out the packaging, you're cutting out those retailers, brick and mortar stores. You don't really have to pay them anything. So you're getting straight 100% profit. And I think that's the reason why Nintendo is going all digital, honestly, to recoup the costs. And funny how nobody never really mentioned that or seen that. Because if you think about it, Mario Kart 8 is $80. That is the highest Nintendo Switch game right now. So the extra $10, $20, 70, 80, the extra $10, $20, it adds up. So we know Mario Kart 8. I keep saying Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart World. We know Mario Kart World is going to sell gangbusters when it finally releases. So $80, the extra $10, $20, that's a lot of money. So Mario Kart sells 30 million, 40 million. At $80, that's a lot of return profit. So I think that's the reason why Nintendo is pushing digital. They don't really care too much about the cartridge. They probably threw their hands up and said, you know what? We're losing money on the Switch. We need to make our money back somehow. So we're going to just get rid of the cartridges, do what everybody else is doing, do what Sony, especially Microsoft, has been doing, and just buying digital games. So they're recouping a lot of money if they go all digital. And I think this is the issue. At the same time, they don't want to upset those diehard Nintendo fans that has been collecting games. So that's why that cartridge slot is there as well. And this Game keycard fiasco has been going on for quite some time now, and everybody's confused. And you have the physical people on one side of the fence, and you have the digital people on one side of the fence. I don't like the game keycards one bit, but it is what it is. Vote with your wallet, guys. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Maybe some people would just throw their hands up too as well and say, man, you know what? I don't even care anymore. It is what it is. We're heading into a digital future anyway. It was only a matter of time. I want to play this game so they won't think twice, and they may just go ahead and buy those game key cards. But you're also still going to have those people that are going to hold out on those game key cards and not buy them, but rather buy the games on the full cartridges. I already told you guys, I'm gonna buy up all my games on cartridges still. If it's a game that I like and it's not on the cartridges, then I might just download it from the eShop, or I might even just, sorry to say this, man, I might even just buy it through Steam, because you know Steam has achievements, Nintendo doesn't have achievements. So right now, Nintendo's making the competition look really, really, really good. Because, and see what a lot of people, I've never heard any YouTuber say this, but part of the success of the Nintendo Switch was collecting physical games for it. Having physical media separated the Nintendo Switch from the competition and give us all a reason to go for the Nintendo Switch version, regardless of the hitting graphics and the frame rates. You know, knowing that we're gonna have the physical game. Sometimes you get the manual. If it's a collector's edition, it comes with all those goodies, and you have it on the shelf like those games behind me. So that was really part of the fun of buying games for Nintendo Switch. So even going into the Nintendo Switch 2 era, I know a lot of people will, and as myself, I will still be collecting physical games for the OG Nintendo Switch, because there are a lot of games that I haven't really played, and there's a lot of games actually that I still want on the cartridges, and not to mention, those games may be enhanced for Switch 2. And I know Nintendo's having issues with that, but hopefully at launch and even after launch, they iron the problems out and they figure out, hey, you know, how we're going to make these games backwards compatibility play on the Switch 2 with enhanced graphics and better frame rates. And lastly, guys, before I check out, so I looked at something really interesting, because we all know that cartridges are significantly more pricier to manufacture than those Blu-ray discs, CDs, DVDs, whatever. I remember back in the days it cost 99 cents to to make one CD. So you know, mass producing CDs in bulk, you know, it's gonna be a lot cheaper versus cartridges back in the days. I believe they were like $30 something. I can't remember the exact price. So with all the game card fiasco going on and the lack of 64 gigs cartridges to go around, I decided to do some research and see how much these 64 gigabyte cartridges cost. And I came up with the information that actually it's $16 for each 64 gigabyte cartridge. Well, that's significantly a lot cheaper than those N64 cartridges back in the days. So as time go on, you know, a couple years from now, $16 might drop down to, who knows, a couple of bucks. It might be half the price, to where developers can say, okay, well, all right, we'll just go ahead and order those cartridges now and use them a lot more because they're gonna be cheaper. But I don't know, guys, with the tariffs going on and everything is so expensive nowadays, who knows if the price of these Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges will fall. It might even go higher than 16. It might go right back up to $30 something like the N64 cartridges were back in the day. So we don't know. It could go either or. It's like a tipping scale right now, a seesaw. It might be cheaper. It might be more expensive. So I don't know, man. So we're living in some real funny times right now. But only time will tell. But I still think Nintendo should push those cartridges, man, and come out with the 8 gig cartridges, the 2 gigabyte cartridges, you know, just to accommodate the type of game size that developers want to use for their games. Well, anyway, guys, that's about it. Thank you for supporting me on my last video. The Switch 2 might be my last console. Did really well. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And let me know in the comment section what kind of content you would like to see me do. Peace out. And let me know what your thoughts are on the game key cards. And are you more of a physical collector, or you're just gonna give in and just buy those game key cards because you want to play the games, or are you gonna download the game straight from the eShop? Crazy times, guys. Crazy times. Hold on to your OG switches. Do not trade them in. That may be the only way to play your physical games 100%, because not even the Xbox Series consoles can play all the old Xbox and 360 games in its entirety. There are only a few games that's backwards compatible with the Xbox Series consoles, because Microsoft, they're doing it through some form of emulation. I'm surprised Nintendo didn't go to Microsoft and kind of ask them for help on that, being that they're pretty good partners. They work great together. But it is what it is, guys. Red Crimson, I'm out of here. Like and subscribe.